Did the United States just witness one of the most shocking political breakdowns, broadcast live for millions to see? JD Vance, once hailed as the Republican Party's rising star, seemed to lose his composure right before everyone's eyes. Millions watched in disbelief as he cracked, leaving people wondering what really happened behind the scenes. Was it pressure, a strategic mistake, or something deeper? More importantly, what does this moment mean for his political future? Stay tuned. What's coming next might surprise you. Who is JD Vance, really? He didn't start out with power or wealth. Born and raised in Middletown, Ohio, a town deeply affected by job losses, addiction, and poverty, his family life was full of struggles. His mother battled addiction, and he was often passed between relatives. Yet, he managed to pull himself up. That journey became the core of his best-selling book, Hillbilly Elegy, a raw and honest look at life in America's forgotten communities. The book didn't just succeed, it put him on the national map. But before we continue, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. If you just did, we truly appreciate it. Now let's get back to the main content. He appeared on major talk shows, was featured in a Netflix movie produced by Ron Howard, and became a voice representing real America. But this wasn't just a survival story. Vance is very smart. He served in the Marines, fought in Iraq, then earned a law degree from Yale, one of the world's top universities. That blend of grit and intelligence made him stand out. He knew how to speak both to the working class and the elite. In a country where many feel ignored by Washington, Vance offered something rare. A leader who understood pain, but also knew power. He used that story to build his political brand. Running for Senate in Ohio, he positioned himself as a conservative outsider. Backed by Donald Trump, he leaned into culture wars and promised to fight for everyday Americans. His message resonated. He won. The same kid who grew up surrounded by broken homes and opioid addiction was now walking the halls of Congress. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite his political rise, insiders described him as intense, always calculating every move, always planning ahead. People close to him didn't always buy the everyman image he projected on TV. They saw someone strategic, even cold at times. He knew the game, and played it well. Critics said he flipped on key beliefs just to gain favor, shifting from anti-Trump to fully pro-Trump within a few years. Still, his brand worked. Vance became a rising star in the Republican Party. Young, sharp, and with a compelling personal story, some even suggested he could be a future vice presidential pick or presidential contender. But success brought pressure. Under the spotlight, he faced intense scrutiny over past remarks, business connections, and even his marriage. And that's when things began to unravel. Here's something that's rarely talked about. Insiders have long whispered about the hidden tension between JD Vance's public ambitions and his private life. Many say the burden of maintaining that perfect comeback image has taken a toll on him. Others point out that his wife, Usha, also a Yale law graduate, prefers privacy and reportedly dislikes the chaos of politics. This friction between his public persona and private pressures might explain why cracks are starting to show. He may have built a powerful image, but in politics, image only lasts so long. And as the cameras kept rolling, something real began to slip through. For the first time, the carefully constructed wall around JD Vance started to crumble, on live TV no less. What happens next could change everything, because once the mask slips, it can't be put back on. The cameras kept rolling, but no one expected a breakdown. JD Vance's unraveling moment left everyone speechless. Behind that sharp image of a rising conservative star, real pressure had been building. Washington insiders began to whisper that he looked tired, more reactive, and stretched too thin. The shine from his best-selling book and early Senate win had started to fade, replaced by constant controversy and political battles. Vance didn't play it safe. He made headlines when he criticized America's support for Ukraine, calling it a foreign war distraction. That sparked backlash from both parties. Many Republicans quietly distanced themselves, while Democrats painted him as reckless. His stance wasn't just unpopular, it isolated him. Even within his own party, there were rumors that Vance was off-message and causing headaches for GOP leadership. His public criticism of big tech also drew attention. Vance pushed hard for tighter regulations, demanding investigations and major reforms. While that earned him praise in some conservative circles, it also triggered resistance. Lobbyists fought back. Senators with close ties to Silicon Valley brushed off his calls for change. Tensions grew behind closed doors. Meanwhile, his loyalty to Donald Trump added more pressure. Some Republicans saw Vance as too close to the former president, especially when he echoed Trump's messaging and leaned into election skepticism. That loyalty made him popular among MAGA supporters, but created friction within the broader GOP, especially among traditional conservatives. Reports suggested that some senior Republicans began excluding Vance from key strategy meetings, deepening his sense of political isolation. At the same time, the stress wasn't just inside the Capitol. Sources close to Vance said he was burning out. The emotional strain of trying to satisfy voters, party leaders, and his own beliefs was mounting. One insider said he had become increasingly emotionally drained. He was also juggling his Senate duties with being a husband and father. The constant travel, interviews, and nonstop criticism made it increasingly difficult for Vance to balance his home life. Known for his intensity and drive, he was now hitting a wall. Colleagues noticed he seemed less focused and more frustrated. The energy that once marked him as a promising political newcomer was noticeably fading. Then came the online backlash. Vance's tweets sparked controversy. One tweet dismissing aid to Ukraine triggered a flood of angry responses. Another post where he criticized the woke elite drew sharp reactions from celebrities, journalists, and political opponents. Each tweet made headlines, and each headline brought more scrutiny. Although Vance never backed down publicly, it became clear something had changed. He was more reactive, quicker to respond, and less composed. These weren't just disagreements, they were signs of someone worn down by the political grind. Reports suggest Vance had been considering stepping away from politics entirely months before his emotional moment on live TV. Some say he privately expressed feelings of exhaustion and disillusionment with the inner workings of the Senate. If true, this means his breakdown wasn't sudden, but had been quietly building beneath the surface. All the signs were there, but few anticipated what happened next. It began like any typical TV interview. JD Vance sat across from the host, wearing a pressed suit and holding notes. The discussion started with familiar topics: border issues, inflation, and the upcoming election cycle. But something felt off. He wasn't as sharp or confident as usual. His voice wavered. Then, in the middle of answering a question about party loyalty, Vance paused. Just for a moment. He looked down, blinked twice, and seemed to collect himself. His voice cracked, not in volume but in tone. He kept talking, but his rhythm faltered. He sounded less like a senator and more like someone carrying a heavy burden. He mentioned the toll public life takes, hinting at regrets and emotional strain. He spoke about the cost of standing alone, a phrase many viewers took as a rare glimpse of vulnerability. His hands fidgeted nervously. His eyes grew moist. At one point, he rubbed his forehead and let out a deep sigh. What started as a political interview slowly shifted into something else. No raised voices, no dramatic exit, just a man visibly reaching his breaking point, live on national television. What hit hardest were the words he chose and the emotions they conveyed. He spoke with a mix of frustration and exhaustion. To some, it sounded like burnout. To others, it seemed like a quiet goodbye. The way he expressed himself left viewers wondering about his future. Was this a subtle farewell disguised as a moment of honesty? Or just a rare glimpse behind the curtain in a high-pressure world? Either way, it didn't feel like politics as usual. It felt like something was ending, or at least changing. Social media blew up within minutes. Clips of the moment were quickly uploaded, sliced into short reels, and flooded with reaction posts. Hashtags like #Vance meltdown and #Senate tears shot straight to the top of trending lists. Some users came to his defense, praising the raw honesty and saying it was about time politicians showed their human side. Others mocked the incident, calling it a sign of weakness and questioning whether he could handle the pressures of the job. But the real drama unfolded after the segment ended. A barely audible hot mic caught him mumbling something as he stood up. Multiple lip readers online claimed he said, "I can't do this anymore." Others thought he said, "It's not worth it." The exact words were unclear, but the meaning was unmistakable. Was he referring to politics? Something personal? Or both? That off-camera moment only added fuel to the fire. News outlets ran with headlines like, "Did JD Vance just quit on live TV?" And the breakdown heard round the hill. Insiders began weighing in. Anonymous staffers told reporters that Vance had been unusually withdrawn in the days leading up to the interview. One source said he'd canceled internal meetings that week and left a Senate session early. There was even talk that he'd been having private conversations with close allies about stepping back, if not fully resigning, then at least taking an extended break. Sources in Ohio reported seeing Vance meeting quietly with former campaign advisors days before the interview, not current staff, but former ones. This sparked a wave of speculation. Was he planning a complete rebrand? Running for a different office, or preparing to exit public life altogether? No one had clear answers, but the shift in his tone, posture, and body language on live TV told a story words didn't need to. It was no longer just about policy. It was about pressure, doubt, and a man coming to terms with the possibility that his time might be up. One thing was clear. JD Vance, the tough-talking outsider who once prided himself on bucking the system, had cracked, and the whole country witnessed it. Usha Vance is not only JD's wife, but also a highly accomplished lawyer in her own right. Known for her grace and composure, she's respected for her intelligence and success. Although Usha has a thriving career, she mostly stays out of the public eye. Those close to her say she's fiercely protective of her family, especially JD, despite her seemingly reserved nature. Behind the scenes, Usha has been a key support for JD, not just as a spouse, but as a major influence in his career, offering advice and standing by him during tough public moments. People unfamiliar with her often underestimate her role in JD's rise from author to politician, but insiders see her as the cornerstone of his personal life. Usha has held the family together behind the scenes, ensuring the Vances stay focused even as JD's career took center stage. But what happens when the pressure becomes too much for even the strongest among us? According to some insiders, that's what happened after JD's on-air breakdown, fueling rumors about what unfolded behind closed doors, especially involving Usha. Unnamed sources claim that Usha got into a possible heated argument with producers or staff backstage. Some believe she was upset not just about how JD was portrayed in the interview, but also about the broader media coverage. If these rumors hold any truth, it's clear that Usha shared JD's feelings given how visibly distressed he appeared. Witnesses at a nearby hotel reported seeing Usha pacing nervously, making frantic phone calls and appearing very shaken. She seemed to be dealing with more than just typical stress. Those close to her noticed her distress and quietly speculated about a potential incident behind the scenes. Was she upset by the intense media scrutiny on JD? Or was there something deeper going on? No one knows for certain yet, but it was obvious that tensions were high. Naturally, word spread quickly. Online chatter and reports of sightings exploded across social media. Many believed Usha had stormed off the set after JD's breakdown, and Reddit threads and Twitter users eagerly picked up the story. There was even a video clip showing her crying as she left a room. Was this evidence of deeper family troubles, or just the result of overwhelming stress from the event? Supporters and fans rushed to judgment, some saying her tearful exit was simply a release of emotion after a tough day, while others saw it as proof the Vance family was publicly unraveling. The video went viral within hours, sparking widespread speculation and concern. While it definitely fueled the conversation, it's important to be cautious about jumping to conclusions. The truth behind these events isn't as simple as it seems. Usha may have simply been overwhelmed by the intensity of the situation and needed a moment to compose herself. Or there could have been more to it. Fans digging for answers may find theories but lack concrete facts. There needs to be a clear line between what's known and what's assumed. It's still too soon to confirm the nature of the confrontation or how serious Usha's reaction really was. Although there's no solid proof of a major blow-up, where there's smoke, there's often fire. In a social media-driven world full of rumors and sensationalism, fans have to sift carefully through what might be true. Even if some of the wildest claims lack evidence, JD's emotional breakdown and Usha's response have sparked a broader conversation about the personal toll of public life. This is clearly a deeply personal story, not just a political one. Whether fully confirmed or not, Usha's alleged meltdown complicates matters further for the already struggling Vance family. The big question remains, how much longer can they handle the pressure of politics and constant public scrutiny amid swirling rumors? The drama is intensifying, but only time will reveal the full story behind Usha's supposed meltdown. Whispers of resignation are growing louder as allies begin to drift away and insiders scramble in panic. Is JD Vance's Senate career coming to an end? The speculation started with a few vague social media posts. JD Vance, once an active and vocal presence online, suddenly went silent. No public statements, no interactions, just complete radio silence. That kind of silence always raises questions. What's really going on? Reporters tried reaching out but heard nothing back. Soon, rumors began swirling. Was he seriously thinking about resigning? Or was something else happening behind the scenes? The pattern became clearer when he started missing several scheduled meetings. Unusual behavior for someone so deeply involved in politics. Some thought it was just a temporary lapse, but as the absences continued without explanation, concern grew. Inside Washington, the whispers got louder. Close aides, staff members, and political analysts all began speculating. The silence only fueled the frenzy. Nobody knew the full story, and every unanswered call increased the tension. Suddenly, the idea of a resignation shifted from rumor to possibility. That's when things behind the scenes reportedly turned chaotic. Sources close to Vance's team mentioned an alleged leaked email hinting at a possible resignation. Staffers appeared confused and uncertain about what to do next. Some were reportedly drafting statements, though no one could confirm what exactly they were preparing for. The buzz around Washington was palpable. Was this the end of Vance's brief but highly visible political journey? Or was there more beneath the surface? Inside the Senate, staffers weren't just waiting for official confirmation, they were bracing for it. If Vance really planned to step down, it would send shockwaves through Capitol Hill and beyond. But the big question remained, why? One likely explanation is political burnout. Vance has been in the public eye for years, and the constant pressure of serving as a senator, media scrutiny, and Washington's ever-changing landscape can wear down anyone. He's been juggling a heavy load, and after his very public emotional breakdown on television, many wondered if the relentless stress finally caught up with him. Could it be that Vance is simply worn out? Another theory points to struggles in his personal life. With rumored emotional strain between him and his wife, Usha, their marriage might be under pressure, potentially pushing him to rethink his political future. Balancing a high-profile marriage with the demands of public office can be an impossible task. If his family life was unraveling, it could explain why he might consider stepping away. Then there's the possibility of conflict within GOP leadership. Vance's outspoken stances on controversial topics like Ukraine and big tech have made him a target of criticism from within his own party. Could he be feeling isolated, at odds with party leaders, and lacking the support he needs? It's not uncommon for politicians to walk away when they no longer feel backed by their own team. And finally, there's a more mysterious angle. Could Vance be stepping down to protect something? Or someone? Washington insiders know that politics is often about far more than just policy. There are personal stakes, behind-the-scenes dealings, and unseen pressures that can drive a politician to step back or resign altogether. What if Vance is trying to protect someone or something from harm? Could this be a strategic move to safeguard his family, his reputation, or something else entirely? Reactions within the Senate have been mixed, to say the least. Reports say leaders like Mitch McConnell and others were caught off guard by the news, or the rumors, depending on whom you ask. Some senators welcomed the possibility of Vance stepping down, seeing it as a chance to redefine the direction of that seat. Others expressed worry. After all, Vance was widely regarded as a rising star in the GOP, and his departure could leave a gap that no one feels ready to fill. Still, confusion seems to dominate. The lack of clear information has everyone scrambling for answers. Is this really the end of Vance's political career, or just a temporary break? Will he return in a new role, or is this the beginning of a quiet exit from politics altogether? Could this all be a calculated political maneuver? Is Vance simply testing the waters to gauge public interest in his future? Or is there something bigger going on, something we haven't yet uncovered? As Vance's team remains silent, the world watches and waits. When JD Vance's emotional TV moment went viral, it didn't just shake up political circles, it ignited the internet. Reactions were sharply divided, especially among his MAGA base. Some came to his defense, praising his courage in showing vulnerability. Others accused him of losing his edge, questioning whether he was still the tough, unapologetic figure they once supported. On social media, the debate raged fiercely. Critics claimed his breakdown was a sign of weakness and that he was no longer fit for public office. His supporters pushed back just as hard, arguing that Vance was simply revealing the human side of politicians that so many hide. As the discussion exploded online, memes and Twitter storms sprang up, dissecting every facial expression, every pause, every shaky word. TikTok videos analyzed his body language, comparing it to previous appearances. People searched for clues, whether signs of stress, sincerity, or something more. As the conversation grew, theories flooded in. Some genuinely believed Vance's emotional moment was a strategic move, signaling he might be gearing up for a higher office. They speculated he was using this vulnerable moment to connect with a national audience, possibly laying the groundwork for a presidential run or a bigger role within the GOP. Others took a darker perspective, suggesting that Vance's emotional breakdown might be tied to personal struggles he hasn't shared publicly. The idea that he could be wrestling with inner demons resonated with some fans who sympathized with his vulnerability. One Reddit user even claimed to have spotted Vance entering a therapist's office, sparking a wave of comments and speculation. Was there truth to it? Was this a sign of deeper issues? Many users quickly dismissed the claim as fake news, but it highlighted how fast rumors spread in today's digital world. With no official statements from Vance's team, people were eager to fill the silence with their own stories and theories. The notion that something more was happening behind the scenes became a focal point for many. As the online chatter grew, new hashtags began trending, reflecting the growing divisions in public opinion. Vancegate quickly gained traction, with users dissecting every detail of Vance's emotional moment. Some treated it like a scandal, searching for evidence that it might have been a calculated PR stunt. Others used the hashtag to show their support, arguing that he was unfairly criticized for expressing genuine emotion. Meanwhile, hashtag Usha Unleashed emerged as another popular tag, focusing on Vance's wife, Usha, and the rumored tensions behind the scenes. People speculated whether her alleged emotional outburst was connected to her husband's public breakdown. Both fans and critics were fascinated by her, trying to read between the lines and interpret hidden meanings in her actions. Perhaps the most surprising trend was hashtag Resign or Revive. This hashtag posed a simple question. Would Vance resign, or would he find a way to bounce back? It became a catch-all for predictions about his next move. Was his career in free fall, or could he recover from this emotional episode and stage a comeback? The hashtag captured the uncertainty surrounding his future and the mixed feelings people had about him. Some saw this as a defining moment, while others believed it could mark the end of his political path. Amid the debates, an intriguing theory has surfaced. What if Vance's breakdown wasn't solely about political burnout or personal issues? What if, on a deeper level, it was a calculated strategy to reshape public perception? It's not uncommon for politicians to use emotional moments to influence public opinion, either to garner sympathy or to connect more deeply with voters. Could this emotional moment be a deliberate attempt to reshape JD Vance's public image? Only time will tell. One thing's for sure. The internet will keep scrutinizing every move he makes, whether he wants the attention or not. From senator to media ghost, what's next for Vance? Reinvention, retreat, or something completely unexpected? After JD Vance's emotional breakdown on live TV, the big question on everyone's mind is, what happens now? Some believe the meltdown wasn't accidental, but part of a carefully crafted plan to rebrand him. Presenting a softer, more vulnerable side might help him connect with a wider audience. Could this be the start of a new chapter, where empathy takes center stage over his usual political toughness? If so, he's setting himself up for a dramatic image shift, and in the right environment, it could pay off. On the other hand, there's the possibility that Vance might step away from the political spotlight altogether. After years caught in the heat of intense debates and relentless public scrutiny, taking a step back isn't out of the question. He could return to the world of books or media, where he's already found success. As an established author, Vance's political insights could make him a sought-after commentator or guest speaker. For many, this might seem like the natural next move after such a very public breakdown. While Vance's future remains uncertain, another question arises. Could his wife, Usha Vance, step into the spotlight herself? Usha has mostly stayed behind the scenes, known for her quiet yet influential role. But could the emotional fallout from JD's breakdown push her into a more public role? There's speculation that Usha, with her legal expertise and strong presence, might eventually pursue a career in politics or public speaking. Some fans even suggest she could be positioning herself for a future in the political arena. She's shown fierce loyalty and protection toward JD. And if this marks a turning point in his career, it might also be the beginning of hers. Whether she chooses to continue supporting JD from the sidelines or take center stage herself remains to be seen. But it's clear she's a force in her own right. If JD's political career is winding down, Usha's might just be gearing up. One of the most intriguing aspects of the aftermath has been the silence from Donald Trump. Known for his quick, often outspoken reactions, Trump has remained notably quiet about Vance's emotional moment. That's surprising given their close political ties and Vance's status as a loyal Trump ally. So why the silence? It could indicate that Trump is distancing himself from Vance, perhaps because of the public display of vulnerability or due to pressure within the GOP. Trump rarely holds back his opinions, so his lack of comment speaks volumes. It's possible there's a brewing rift behind the scenes that we're only seeing hints of. Or maybe Trump's silence is strategic, waiting to see how the public reacts before weighing in. Another angle worth considering is how social media will shape Vance's next moves. With online platforms dominating public discourse, his future may be increasingly influenced by the digital audience. Will JD Vance turn to platforms like Twitter, Instagram, or even start a YouTube channel to communicate directly with the public? With his political future uncertain, he might use these channels to stay relevant and connect with supporters on his own terms. Could his emotional breakdown signal a broader shift in politics, where more public figures move away from the traditional tough guy persona and embrace vulnerability? Vance's moment might be the start of a new trend, one where authenticity plays a bigger role in political engagement. No matter what happens next, JD Vance's next moves are more crucial than ever. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the next video popping up on your screen for more great content.